Can you give me a rundown, and we'll show the picture up on the screen, but can you give me a rundown of how you became Boston's youngest broker?
Yeah, that was that's a longer story than it is I think we have time for, but my dad, I was in high school when my dad sort of I was a junior at PCD, and it was going into like the spring, and my dad like slapped me up on the head like one day and was like, "Go get your real estate license." And I was like, "Can I just like mow the lawn?" Like, I was like, "The fuck?" I was like, "Dad, it's a Sunday. Like, what's going on?" And my dad always had a goal for my brother and I in a lot of different ways.
Hmm.
Um, he had a set plan, which I appreciate. I don't not in like some LeVar Ball like type of thing, but he knew what he wanted us to do,
Yeah.
and I think, and not to bring up my brother right away, I think Ray somewhat fell short of that because he was supposed to become like a major like drone pilot and everything, and we were supposed to like link up together because as you know now today like drones and real estate are like peanut butter and jelly, they
Oh
just go
yeah.
together now.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I got my real estate license, my salesperson license, which to like the non realtor out there, like there is a difference, but it's in all things considered doesn't really matter all that much. And I started practicing real estate in high school. I was posting ads, working for somebody, and then eventually it kept going. At one point, we'll skip over a lot of it, but at one point I was fired. Like shit wasn't going well.
Oh damn.
um, I was fired from Keller Williams. Not let go, like distinctly fired. Nothing bad. I'll be honest. They were just like, you don't know what you're doing, and I was like, hey, like you're probably right. Like I'm in frickin' college. Um, then I joined up with it's so funny. So my dad has always been the one to get me into. My dad was always the one to get me into real estate, and my mom like not so much.
Hmm.
And I was in Florida, and my mom was like, "Oh my gosh, Sal! Like, I met this really cool guy named Thatcher on a trolley tour in Boston. He does real estate in Boston. You should talk to him." And I'm like, "All right, mom. Like, thanks a lot. Like, I'm really gonna listen to this guy. Like, clearly he's not good at real estate because he's working part time, like as a trolley driver or whatever." And so I get fired from KW, and the first thing I did was call Thatcher, set up a meeting, and I ended up joining Encore Realty like the next week. And I have to give them a lot of love. Dave Monheit is a tremendous, tremendous gentleman. Really gave me room to soar in a
Hmm.
lot of ways. I would say I was a month away from like quitting and just giving up on it. And he helped me go in a lot. He helped me really learn the business, learn the industry. And then from there, I got my broker's license. And I will admit, it took me a couple of times. It took me a couple of tries. Getting, I'm sure my brother told you, getting the salesperson license while I was in high school was rough. I'll be very honest. It is. I failed that thing like 5 times. But I would say like, what do you call a lawyer who passes the bar on the third try?
A lawyer.
He's a lawyer, so who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah.
Anyway, it took me a couple of tries, but I was also like, I was studying for the SATs at the same time.
Hmm.
It wasn't like this was very much on the back burner, and I was trying my best. And then as for the broker's exam, that one only took me like 2 or 3 tries, but one of them I took it remotely, which was totally fine because it was still like post pandemic. And one time I got kicked out because they thought I was cheating, which I wasn't.
How did that? Wait.
The hand of God,
Why
like
did they think you were cheating?
so what happened was, you take it virtually just as we are on now, and the questions on these exams, just like with any sort of like state exam, they're not easy. Like they're not
Oh
straightforward. They're
yeah.
written backwards, upside down. Like they'll use very weird terminology, and I'm on like question 16, and I'm like trying to like mouth the words, really trying to understand it because the questions are tough. And they like slap me with a warning, and I'm like, oh okay, like I guess I'll just shut up for the next hour and a half. And then maybe like 10 questions later, I'm really struggling. And then I'm like, oh my God, it's D. And like, hook gone, like, you're out of here. Like, and I was so upset, I threw my pen at the wall.
Do they think there was somebody else like in the room with you? That's why it
Exactly.
was.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's why. Yeah.
You were yelling out the questions. That's man. That must have been the weirdest. Because I went and got my real estate license a couple years
Right.
prior, and I mean it was still in person. So
Hmm.
it was. I mean, I was in a room, and I guess you can't.
Yeah. The PSI rooms. Yeah. Yeah. I've been
Yeah,
there. Yeah. They suck.
those things, and then they're like in the middle of nowhere,
Middle
and
of nowhere.
you're just in there with like 6 other people, And it's the weirdest thing. There is a requirement. I always remember to get your broker's license. It's not, you can't just have your real estate license and go automatically your broker's license, correct?
Right.
Right. What is, it's like a
Yeah,
couple
you have
years and then you
to
have to do some amount of
you have to
deals.
do it like for 3 years consecutively and work a minimum of I think it's like 40 hours a week, and you have to get like all your previous like brokers to sign off on it,
Damn.
and then you can go ahead and take it. Yeah. So I was a junior in college when that was happening, and my junior year was definitely on the, I lived a pretty calm college life.
Hmm.
I wasn't, I didn't do a whole lot, and like that was tough because I was living with 5 other kids at the time, and they would go to bed at 1 a.m. and I
Yeah.
was like the latest I had ever stayed up was 10 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm trying to. This is like the fall semester, so people are definitely going wild, or it's crazy. I say fall semester can be crazier in some aspects,
Yeah.
and like I was like, all right, 7 o'clock, might as well rip an Adderall. Like let's just study for the night, and eventually I got it. But it was I'd say junior was the most difficult time for me, and pairing that with having to pass was interesting.
What made you decide to pursue going further with the broker's license rather than just staying the regular salesperson?
Yeah.